Couch.
Welcome to the Rich Couch. So glad that you can join us once again. Again, my name is Deborah.
And I am Kevin Richelieu, Rev Kev. If you don't remember, I work for her full time. I work for her full time. And I'm glad just to be on the Rich Couch. It's a privilege to be here supporting my lovely wife.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate you for being here. So welcome once again. If this is your first time checking us out here on the Rich Couch, I am very passionate about having rich conversations, which I believe can enrich our relationships. And as a result, I want to enrich your life. So thank you for joining us. We have been in a mini-series that I like to call the Honeymoon Phase. So the honeymoon phase, we're just talking about some lessons learned in our first few years of marriage. And today's topic is rich communication. Rich communication in the honeymoon phase. So important. And I think in every relationship, in every important relationship, you need rich communication. So specifically, we're going to be talking about rich communication in the honeymoon phase and just some nuggets that I have learned in the first few years of marriage. So I read a quote once. I don't remember the name of the book in one of my therapy classes, and if I remember, I will reference back to it. But it says, "We are always communicating," which I thought was really interesting, because I was like, what do you mean we're always communicating? Because, there are so many relationships, I'm sure, that have been damaged because of poor communication, whether it's a work relationship or, whether it's in an intimate, romantic relationship or even a friendship. So I thought that quote was so interesting, but it is so true. Whether it's verbal, we have verbal communication, and we have non-verbal communication. So there's those eye rolls, or there's those things that we may not actually say something, but we're always communicating. So I thought that was really interesting. But anyway, to move on, I want to just share some quick nuggets about what I have learned in our honeymoon stage about rich communication and why it is so important. The first one is being careful not to assume in your relationship.
Wow, that's so good. And that's so true.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we think we know what the spouse means.
We know.
We think we understood.
But we have no idea.
So we assume.
Yes.
And it gets crazy, and we get miscommunication.
And
we're not on the same page.
Yep.
And we get off of the same page, therefore get out of alignment, out of authentic harmony, and we're just a mess. Because why?
We assume that the person wanted ABC. We assume that they're okay with blank, and there was no actual communication. So when you have rich communication, you avoid assuming, and you avoid those fights or those disagreements, misunderstandings. You didn't have to go down that
text wars.
Like, well, you should have known.
Right.
But I assumed.
Right.
So we gotta be careful. So rich communication helps us to avoid making assumptions and making misunderstandings happen. One thing that we like to ask each other, so we don't assume we know what the person wants, is, how do you see us ending the night? And that has been such a great question. We don't ask each other this every night.
Right.
But once in a while, we implement that question so that I don't assume, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. after I've gotten off of work, Kevin, is just going to, I don't know, something random.
and sometimes we're having conversations in our head. I know I do.
Yeah.
A lot. And I'm thinking that she knows what I'm going to do. So like she said, 5 to 8, I might, I don't know, maybe want to watch a movie or maybe want to read a book.
Right.
But she's thinking we want to go to the beach.
Right.
And I don't say anything. So I'm thinking she could read my mind. And I'm thinking like, okay, she should know that I don't want to go to the beach, right? But no, unless I communicate that to her, how can I expect her to know? And that's why communication is so important.
So important. Rich communication is so important. Okay, the next nugget I want to share is Rich communication enables couples to gain a better understanding. The power of listening. Okay, this is how I'm going to break this down to you right now. I'm going to save your life. I'm going to enrich your life. I think it's so important to become a student of your spouse. Become a student of your spouse. I have learned this throughout the years. I don't know if I saw it on a card or maybe someone said it, but it was probably one of the best nuggets that I can have to have a rich marriage. You see what I did there? But to become a student of Kevin, because I have to learn. And the same way I'm sitting in a class, I'm sitting and listening to a professor, how I'm learning is I'm listening. I can't say I'm really learning from that professor if I'm just talking. No, I have to really sit there and listen to the professor or listen to, whoever is giving a presentation so I can learn from them. So in the same way, in our marriage, I learned that I had to listen to hear about Kevin and learn about him, learn about what he likes, learn about what he doesn't like. So a part of rich communication is listening to your spouse and becoming a student of your spouse.
And I have to learn Deborah too. And the reality is that, like we spoke about a few weeks ago about expectations, Deborah's ever evolving, she's ever changing, she's ever growing, and she's ever learning. So I can't just limit her to how I known her in high school. And we actually knew each other in high school.
We have known. Listen, I saw a Facebook reminder. We've known each other for 17 years.
Yeah, 17 years.
That's crazy.
It's scary. So think about it. So if I've known her for 17 years, I can't expect her to be the same person that she's been 17 years ago.
You can't.
So I have to take time to take notes to understand her and get to know her. And some of you are avid readers and you love to learn and grow, but how much more as we're learning and reading books, so we learn to be student of our spouses. Also, I'll add in, it's important also to continue to be students of ourselves.
Yes.
Because we're even learning ourselves in different seasons.
Yes.
And the more that we're able to know ourselves, know our spouses, we can grow in communication with one another. But that's a good nugget. Make sure that you're taking time to be a student
Take notes
of your spouse.
Take notes of your spouse. Okay.
So, now, granted, I don't want you to walk around with no notebook. Like,
you don't have to actually do that.
You don't be like, oh, wait. Rich Cott says, what did you mean by that? Is there a test coming?
Not like that. Don't be like analytical like that.
It's not like FCAT, back in the days, ACTs back in the days.
A student.
No, right, exactly. The whole idea is just to learn your spouse.
Yes. Okay, so rich communication. Another important nugget for rich communication is to learn the person and how to serve them. Okay, rich communication, the importance of it, you learn how to serve them. Everybody is different, right? And by now, so many people have heard of the 5 love languages. I think we should definitely do a episode about that. But anyway, about what our love languages is.
Let's do it.
But here's the thing. The cool thing about the 5 love languages is you learn how that person receives love. So I think that's so important to learn. Probably have to edit this.
Why?
I lost my train of thought.
It's raw. Let me say it's raw. We ain't edited it. It's just like we kept the karate moves.
Yes.
We're going.
Sorry, learn how to serve them.
I think where she was going with the love languages is that the way we know and understand our spouse's love language and how they receive love, it then shows us not how to just seek out what we need, but actually what our spouses need so that we can serve them. So if my wife actually, she loves quality time and she loves words of affirmation, right? That's her. Yeah. And for me to understand her and know that these are the ways that she receives love, I then can know how to serve her by communicating her love language. And it's the same way in your marriage. You understand the different things that your spouses are and the way that they also receive love and how you can serve them so that they can receive love and have a rich marriage. So I think it's important that we do take time to be able to know how to serve our spouses.
How to serve your spouse.
Right. I'm backing you. I'm trying to keep you going.
Thank you. So the other thing too that I would throw in there is you learn whether this person is a morning or evening person. Okay, so you learn how to serve them. When is the best time to communicate an important message to this person? When is the best time to deliver some really key information or maybe some emergency information? By that, I mean, is your spouse a morning person? Are they an evening person? And, we didn't live together before going into our marriage. So, we would be on the phone with your boo late at night or whatever. But when we got married, Kevin quickly learned that I like to go to bed really early. And because I had an early job that I was working at that time. So if he wanted to bring up something very important or heavy, late at night was not good for me because by 10 o'clock, I'm out. I don't want to talk. I don't want to communicate about any heavy topics or anything like that. But 6 o'clock in the morning, you got me. You got all my energy. And so we had to learn that if we're going to have a really important or deep discussion, late at night wasn't going to work for me. And of course, you have to learn your marriage and learn your spouse and see what's going to work for you guys, and how you want to deliver a message or you want to serve them a certain way. So I think that's really another good nugget.
And I think that the communication is important because in different seasons, like she mentioned her job, your spouse might have a different commitment. In this specific season of my life, I'm actually learning to become more of a morning person.
Yes.
And because and part of what helps me start my day off is not talking, but having times of kind of silence to gather my thoughts and gather my mind. So if Deborah's waking up early and she's wanting to talk through the day, I'll say, hey, I'm not ready yet to go into a whole full energy burst of life.
He's not. It's switched. So that's what we talked about in one of our other episodes. Like, your marriage is going to go through different seasons and just changes, and it's going to evolve, and the person's going to evolve and grow. So now he is more of a morning person, and I'm ready to like chat. And he's like, wait a minute, I need my quiet time. He spends his time in devotion, and he takes a morning walk every day, and he just needs that quiet time before he starts the day. So I've had to relearn him over the past recent year. Last year. So there's been a change there for us.
Right. So we talked about gaining better understanding, serving each other, and then we said supporting each other.
Yep.
Right. Knowing how to support our spouses in different seasons, different goals, how to serve them, right? And then did we talk about supporting?
Okay, we didn't get there yet. Okay, so
we talk about supporting now.
Communication is important because you're going to learn how to support them.
That's the one, yeah.
When you communicate.
My bad, I got ahead.
Okay? He got ahead. It's okay. It's good. You're supporting me. So this is important because I think it's so important to communicate with your spouse. What are your dreams? What are your goals? Tell me. Listen to them as they tell you. Tell me so that I can support you. Whether it's paying off a debt. We came into our marriage with a lot of college debt. Jesus. Okay?
Dave Ramsey, shout
out to Dave Ramsey, okay?
Trying to get out of debt.
Snowball effect.
Trying to get out of debt.
With gazelle intensity. So, so we came in with a lot of debt. So we had to communicate. Wait a minute here. I'm the dreamer. So I'm like going off into, I want to do this and I want to do that. And, he has to reel me back in and say, wait a minute, we got some college loan debt we need to work on. Or communicate. Maybe my goal is to bring up my credit score. Maybe my goal is to go back to graduate school. This was a big lesson for us because I was thinking about going back to grad school, and next thing you know, I was at orientation, and he was like, wait a minute, you said you were thinking about it. I was like, I was thinking about it. I thought about it so much that I attended orientation, and I registered. So...
And I'm like, yo, if you would just communicate. So what are we talking about? Thinking about it or doing it, right? Two different things.
Right.
And that's why, like Deb's saying, it's important communicating so we know how to support our spouses.
How to support, yes.
So we know how to support our spouses.
Yes. And then the last nugget, okay, is you learn how to address conflict in a productive manner. Oh my goodness. If you didn't pay attention to anything else in this video, rich communication is important because we have to address conflict. Conflict is going to come in any relationship, especially the ones that are important to us, the ones that we value, the ones that we have to see the person every day, and I think you have to fight. You're going to fight. That's a given, right? But there's a productive way to talk about disagreements, and then there's an unproductive way. In our first year of marriage, I learned really, really fast that yelling, raising my octave, if I want to communicate to Kevin about something I disagree with, that's not the best way to go about it with him, because he's going to shut down. You know, he is not a child. I am not his mother. He already has a great mother who did a fantastic job in raising him. So he doesn't need a second one. Okay, so that's one thing I really had to learn. When we have a conflict, I have to make sure I'm not yelling at him, and because I'm emotional, I'm passionate, so I'm going to be all into whatever my point is and what I'm saying and what I'm trying to get across, but I can't let that hinder me from getting my point across and getting the message clear across to him. And he had to learn too, if we're in a disagreement, I can't do the sarcasm. I can't do the laughing. Like, he would be like laughing. You know, that's how you laugh. He would be laughing, and I'm like, why are you laughing? Like, we're fighting right now, or we're, you know, in a disagreement. And so he had to learn that really quick. That's not gonna work for me, because now I don't feel like you're taking me seriously. I don't feel like you're respecting me. You're not respecting my time and what I have to say. So we just had to learn rich communication is super important, so that you can disagree. You can have conflict. You know, that's healthy.
Right.
You know, to have conflict, to disagree, you're two different people.
Right. And remember the values that for the rich couch is disagree, but don't be disrespectful.
Right.
And you know, a few things in there. First of all, when she's saying fight, we're not talking about fist fighting.
No.
We know that there are a lot of couples out there who may have dealt with abuse or physical abuse, and that's not what we mean. Please hope you know our hearts. We're not talking about physical fighting. We're talking
verbal.
About hard conversations, strong dialogue.
Yeah.
And honestly, we probably might even do a teaching on that, like how to actually fight, like what's a good strategy or good helpful tips on having good conflict. But also too, communication it's very similar to you can confuse communication with conflict, but there's a difference. Good communication can help you avoid conflict, and good communication helps you in a conflict not make the conflict worse, so that you can get back on the same page.
Right.
So it's important to know that communication is different from conflict, but they work hand in hand. And the more that you sharpen and strengthen your ability to communicate with one another, the even better that you become at being able to have conflict and difficult conversations.
Right. So we really hope that this video was really helpful for you. If you're, you know, engaged or newly married, you're in the honeymoon phase, and you know, you're trying to figure out what is this whole communication thing and why it's so important. It's really, really super important to just, you know, communicate, learn from each other. And you see all the points there.
Right.
So,
and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share it. Whether you're watching video or listening on the podcast, please make sure you share it with many people.
Yes,
share because
it with
remember,
people.
Here at the Rich Couch, we want to make sure you remember we want to help you have rich conversation so that you can have rich relationships and you can enrich your life. Don't forget that. All right, y'all. So peace.
Thank you. Peace. See you guys later.
Close, like you start out over there and then you got all close.
I like being close to you.
Okay, all right, but I can't, like, you know, give me some social distance. You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing. I'm playing. Just playing.
Bye, guys.